It's time for a couple of holy mackerel stories in today's news. This November's elections, generally speaking, were good for Democrats and bad for Republicans. But for every generally speaking, there are exceptions. One of those exceptions in November was the race to control the state legislature in the great state of Tennessee. Democrats had held the majority in Tennessee's General Assembly since 1869. That's a 140-year winning streak. Until the election results in November put Republicans up in that chamber for the first time in 140 years. Their margin was just 50 to 49. Now, last month, when it came to swearing in time, the Republicans were very excited about the change in power. Their choice to be the new Speaker of the House, the improbably named Jason Mumpower, brought the family Bible to be sworn in on. He ordered 65 state flags that would be raised on the Capitol flagpole and then brought back down and then later distributed as souvenirs. The Republican Party taking over the House for the first time in 140 years. They were so excited. Little did they know, their 50 to 49 majority was about to get way more complicated. A Republican legislator from East Tennessee, a man named Kent Williams, had made a secret deal with the Democrats. Mr. Williams caucused with his fellow Republicans right up through that morning of the vote for the Speaker. He had pledged that along with all the other Republicans in that chamber, that he would support Mr. Mumpower for Speaker. But then, when the time came to vote for the new Speaker, Mr. Williams instead voted for himself, as did all of the 49 Democrats. The Republicans were screaming Judas at him on the floor of the General Assembly. This means that Mr. Williams got 50 votes and the other guy only got 49. So the Republicans didn't get their guy as Speaker of the House, even though they technically had a majority of seats in the chamber. They had a majority of seats in the chamber. That's no longer true. This week, they gave up their majority. The chair of Tennessee's Republican Party stripped Mr. Williams of his Republican Party membership, said, "You are no longer a Republican. We disown you." She cited dishonor, deception, and betrayal. Meow. Moving east to the state of Virginia, Democrats control the Virginia State Senate 21 to 19. So Democrats in the Virginia State Senate, they are in control, but it's fragile. If the party split shifted in Virginia by just one vote, if it became 2020 instead of 21-19, then the control of the chamber would flip. And that's because the state's lieutenant governor is a Republican, and the lieutenant governor casts the tie-breaking vote. So if it was 2020, the control of the chamber would go to the GOP because of that lieutenant governor. In yet more party-crossing state legislature drama, Republicans almost got that split to happen. They almost got one Democratic senator, Ralph Northam, to agree to switch sides. That would have given Republicans control of the Virginia State Senate. It might have worked. It looked like it was going to work, but then Twitter struck. The state Republican Party chairman, a young man named Jeff Frederick, posted a tweet that said this: "Big news coming out of the Senate. Apparently one Dem is either switching or leaving the Dem caucus. Negotiations for power sharing underway." Apparently, Mr. Frederick, genius, didn't take into account that he was tipping off the Democrats to the Republicans' secret plan. Dope! After seeing his tweet, the Democratic Majority Leader adjourned the chamber before any deal could happen. That bought the Democrats time to get their potential Benedict Arnold to change his ever-loving mind. Who do you think is the country's least popular Republican right now? The guy who got stripped of his party membership for defecting to the other side in Tennessee? Or the guy in Virginia who gave away the Republicans' chance at controlling the Senate because he was too excited about it to stop himself from tweeting it? Tough call there. Tough call.